Hi guys, this is a Hitman Agent 47 review. Okay, it's a little late because in the UK it came out in the 27th and I watched it the next day on the 28th. So, first up, spoiler alert, because I'm going to quickly go over the film. And actually no, the whole thing's going to be a spoiler alert, so if you don't want to know about it, why would you be watching a review? Anyway, basically it's kind of about 47, I'll start with that. Okay, I'll quickly go over my opinion on the movie. It was quite good. What really made it was the action. They definitely ramped it up from the last film. The last film, I guess it was just standard action, people getting shot. Here it's quite brutal, there's people getting crushed in machinery. 47, getting headshots and there's blood spray, stabbing people. It's quite brutal stuff, which is definitely a step up and definitely, I guess, what they needed. If we're going to do anything, I mean, 47 in the games obviously is stealthy, and in the movies they're making more action violent. I mean, there was a little bit of stealth. I think he fiber-wired a few people, he knifed a few people. There were lots of callbacks to the game. But anyway, the violence was very intense, which was good. I guess, might as well have it full on. It reminded me a lot of the movie John Wick. If you haven't seen that, that came out last year, about Hitman. And it has very short, intense action, similar to the Bourne movies, I guess I was going to compare it to anything. The problem was the actual plot of the film, which is, well, okay, 47 was created by someone who isn't Dr. Ortmar. They changed the origin story. Basically, the guy who ran away, who created them, people want to find him so they can make more agents. He has a daughter. The daughter is who they're trying to find so they can find a father through her. Anyway, so 47 at first tries to kill the girl, but eventually it turns out he's trying to help her or something, and they know each other. It's kind of annoying, but I'll get onto that in a bit. But at first, like I said, he's going to kill her, and the other guy, who's John Smith, played by Zachary Quinton, I just remember his name for some reason. Rupert Friend was actually pretty good as Agent 47. Really got the emotions down. I'll just put that in there. Only problem is he didn't actually look the part so much. He was great. I really liked the way he kind of withheld the emotions. Like there's one bit in the film when she insults him or something, and he just rolls his eye like, oh, I'm having to deal with this person. He has like no real emotions, which I really liked. They really acted that forth. There's not like kind of a love story like in the first one. But at the same time, what was his name? Timothy Oliphant. He really looked the part. This guy, he's just got stubble everywhere. I guess he's kind of like an agent. The barcode's a bit dodgy. It's like burned into the back of his head, which instead of like tattooed. So I mean, it's okay. He was decent actor, I'd say. He worked the whole thing. They definitely worked in a couple of stuff as well. But anyway, the girl is met up by John Smith. He says Agent 47 is going to kill her. 47 chases them. It's more focused on the girl than it is 47, I'll be honest. At first, 47's the bad guy, which was a really interesting point, because they really put him on the other side. I mean, normally you play as him, so he's kind of the anti-hero, but they really made him into the bad guy, which was an interesting, point of view. I watched it with a few people and they were like, oh, I thought he was meant to be the good guy here. But yeah, it really made him look quite dark. I mean, the action was very intense, killed people quite brutally, explosions, lots of shooting, knifes people. But anyway, he's chasing her and Zachary Quinton. He kind of beats Zachary up pretty quickly. He kind of ignores him. You think he would just shoot him straight up, but he just kind of beats him up really easily and goes after the girl. He keeps on trying to stop her. Eventually, they run to an embassy and they go inside. They get arrested because he shoots the gun in the air. 47 then walks in, just like in the trailers. They arrest him as well. Then there's the whole scene in the room with the sniper where it fires and he breaks his, his chains. He escapes, grabs a disguise, grabs a second disguise at some point, goes after them. Zachary Quinton escapes really easily. That's one really annoying bit in the movie. He jumps through the one-way mirror. No, the two-way mirror. No, wait, one-way mirror, and he just breaks it really easily and just escapes. And then 47 still after them for a while. That goes on for a bit. Eventually, they track. She kind of remembers where her father was with John Smith, and it turns out he's bad. 47 comes in, shoots the guy 4 times. You think he's totaled. You think he's gone. Grabs the girl, kidnaps her. Kind of interrogation. Sits her in front of a turbine. It's a bit different from the trailer where she was kind of strung up. She's just in a chair, and he tells her he's the good guy, whatever. She escapes from the chair because he was testing her as he turns the air turbine on. And then a bunch of guys come in trying to kill them, and he's like, "Oh, use your senses." Because one thing, the girl kind of has this. It's meant to be heightened senses, like heightened sight, heightened hearing, but it really is telepathy. She literally sees the future. Like you see, kind of like you've seen in Sherlock Holmes, where he kind of thinks what he's going to do, beat the people up. That's kind of what she does, which kind of makes the game a little bit, a little bit supernatural, which kind of annoyed me. But anyway, basically she escapes. 47 kills a bunch of guys. There's a bunch of throwbacks to the game. He fiber wires a guy. He shoots a guy with a silenced pistol. Knifes a guy. Uses a couple of bits of machinery in the factory they're hiding in. Traps. Using that like dropping stuff. Got a claw to crash. I mean, there's some really like violent bits. He like chucks a gun to like kind of a spinning blade thing. Like you see blood just spray out. It's pretty intense. Anyway, so they escape from that, and then it turns out John Smith's the bad guy. He's working for what do they call it? The other agency. Oh, damn it. Can't remember. Basically, a bad agency, and they want to find the father so they can start the agency program. So 47 and him get into a fight. It turns out that he's got kind of let me see, what was it? Titanium like kind of body armor underneath his skin. It was injected, something like that. Some sort of body armor. It's a little ridiculous, but basically he can't get shot because he's like pretty much Wolverine. I'm just gonna say Wolverine right there. He's got metal under his hands. You can shoot him pretty much anywhere. They don't shoot him in the head though. That'd be the main idea. But he gets into a fight with 47. 47 like stabs him, breaks the knife, so he would have killed him. But then the guy beats him up. The girl then saves him, shoots the glass, which causes like an explosion or something like that. 47 escapes with her. There's a driving scene, a driving chase, which is pretty cool. There's a few bits that's a bit ridiculous, like John Smith's in the car, and the car gets into a huge crash, but he just gets up, and I'm like, okay, if you've got titanium skin, but still you're going to die of like a concussion and stuff, all your internal organs being destroyed then. And there's a bit when him and 47 jumped off a moving train, and you're like, no, they're just dead. But anyway, that happens. There's a fight. There's a car chase. Eventually, they get the father at last, who's just this old guy. Really, he was meant to be the creator. He instantly becomes, I guess, a good guy. They portray him, even though he made all these agents. They run around with him. I think that the bad guys find out where they are. There's some more shooting out. Guy gets shot in the leg. He gets captured. Then they pretty much just rescue him, kill all the guys. I mean, the plot's very like paper thin. I'm not gonna lie. It was actually quite boring. All the fillers outside the action. The action was the only thing that made this film like decent. There were some there were intense parts, and that's what was good. The first half of the movie, I would say, was the best, when you don't know 47 is good or bad, and a bit in the embassy. So all of that, and then it got just a bit boring. All this filler, and you're just like waiting for the next action scene. And how it was really intense action, it was very, violent, very short, very punctual. At the end, it was just, just lots of shooting. I mean, and it wasn't really focusing. You're just like, okay, it's just complete action now. The ending was pretty good though. Kill Zachary Quinton and by electrocuting him with a fiber wire. I'm not quite sure like that. And in the after scene credit scene, he wakes up and he's got white hair and he's meant to be the albino, who's Mark Porchesi, of course, from the games. And I thought that was nice. There's loads of kickbacks to the game. They also hire Agent 48, and how in the games they were similar but never the same. They really went with their clones, and it was an exact copy of him. And when you first see him, you get the famous, there's a bathtub, a guy's feet, a duck, and you just see a toaster in there, just from Blood Money, and that was a great callback. And then right at the end, they're facing each other. Him, who's, pristine, looks exactly like Rupert Friend, and then Rupert Friend, he's all messed up because he's been in fights and stuff, and he's with the girl, of course. And then they lift their guns and they shoot. And he goes, and I think he says, Diana sends her regards, because 47 just chucks the phone away. Which, again, if he has no emotions, he shouldn't have done. But, that's for another time. And I thought that was a nice ending to the film. They really left it on that kind of, cool note. Loads of kickbacks to the thing. I mean, there were all kinds of weapons. He had a kind of suitcase. I'm not gonna lie, in the first movie, it was a suitcase. It was kind of like a bag. And he's got all his guns in, which is quite cool. I've got a picture to compare that. But yeah, anyway, him and the girl, it was quite fun. The girl was kind of annoying, honestly. I mean, her telepathy or whatever, how she sees the future, and she got good at fighting. There were a few funny moments in it, but the action was really great. Anyway, wow. Okay, final opinion. Quickly break down each character. Okay, Rupert Friend, I've gone over him being good at acting, doesn't quite look the part. The girl, I'm not quite sure of her name, kind of annoying, I'll be honest. The telepathy thing, she's seeing the future, was quite annoying. I guess she was okay, she just has some alright action, I guess, she had some good parts. Yeah, she was alright, but it wasn't at least as bad as the last movie, how the girl was just, hanging around, became their love interest. It wasn't quite that bad. Although the first movie had some ridiculous action scenes, such as a sword fight and stuff, this one also had some pretty ridiculous action scenes. I mean, crashing a helicopter into a building. I mean, that's just one of them. I mean, yeah. John Smith, played by Zachary Quinton, he was quite okay. He was decent at his different parts, from going from the good guy to the bad guy. Though they did make him pretty indestructible. He pretty much was Wolverine. He had metal skin, and he just couldn't be shot anywhere, and couldn't be killed. Even like when he's in a car crash, he just stood up and was fine. Which was kind of annoying. But, 47 was pretty good. He was pretty badass quite a lot. Lots of great kills. Great emotion, or lack of emotion, which was so good. It was very dark for the beginning of the film, I'd say, for the first third at least, up to the embassy. Very, ambiguous, lots of shades of grey. You weren't quite sure he was good, if he was bad. He was almost made into kind of a side feature of the film, which I think was the main problem. They focused way too much on the girl, and not enough on 47, which is what we all wanted to see. It was more her doing some stuff trying to find her father, while we wait for the next shot. And then once they teamed up, it was a little bit like the first movie, where he's like, don't do that again, don't stop me killing people, and she's like, you should become a good guy. And eventually, in the end, he kind of goes rogue from the agency, doesn't kill her, and, kind of ends like that. But it was an okay movie. Lots of hints to the game, which I liked. Obviously, different ways of killing people. Lots of references to the missions. Lots of winks and stuff, which was fun. And when they were there, they were great, honestly. Make a clip show of all the bits referencing to the games would be great. It was just all the filler in between. Just wasn't very entertaining. It was quite boring, in fact, just waiting for each action scene. But, like I've said a few times, the action was amazing, and it made up for it in that way. Plot-wise, I would say quite awful. Action content... quite good. I mean, up to at least halfway, when the action just became non-stop shooting. It was really good and definitely worth a watch. So, I'll do a full breakdown of the movie when I can. Going from each scene like I did with the first movie. Check out my breakdown of Hitman 2007 if you want. I also did the trailers in the lead up to this coming out. And I'll see you next time.